Hello and welcome to the video. Today I am ranking the coasters of Cedar Point, but on a tier list. So green is the best and red is the worst. And white is for coasters I don't count as a credit, like Pipe Scream. So let's get started, shall we? We will be starting at the front of the park and making our way to the back of the park. First up is Gatekeeper. It is a very good ride, as of my most recent rides, but it is also very underrated. So I'm going to put it into the top of above average. Next up we have Wild Mouse. Now, this is a very fun little family coaster, but it's very much overshadowed by the other coasters in the park. But for a family coaster, this is very good. I'm going to put this into the mid-tier. Actually, no, scratch that. Let's put that into the top of below average. This park's just stacked with really good coasters. Next up, we have Raptor. It is no longer my favorite B&M invert anymore after my rides on Banshee this year, but I'm still going to put it into the above average tier. Still a very good ride. Now, we have Blue Streak. Personally, I love old, janky, but not headache-inducing wooden coasters. Like, the Beast is, number 5 at Kings Island for me, right behind the B&Ms and Mystic Timbers. So, I'm gonna put this into the mid-tier, just because there are so many coasters in this park that are better than it, but it's still really good. Valraven. You know, I really like it. It does feel kind of short, and kind of does crawl through the second half, but it's good. I like it. I think it's up for Millennium as the most footage I have filmed for a coaster this most recent trip. I don't think it's as good as Raptor, but it's still good enough to make it into the bottom of above average. Now we have Iron Dragon. This used to be my favorite family coaster in the park, but now that Wild Mouse is opened, it has fallen rain to that. Still very fun. So I'm going to put it into the middle of below average. Now we have Rougarou. So take what I said about Blue Streak and how I like old janky wooden coasters. I don't like janky steel coasters that are only like 30 years old. But I'm still going to put it into like middle of mid-tier. Millennium Force. Now, it wasn't as high up on my rankings as it is now because I had gotten such a good night ride this year that has blasted it up my rankings and made it one of my favorite coasters. And I'm going to put it into the top of above average. Not my favorite coaster in the park. We'll get to that later. Jumping over to the Gemini Midway, we have Corkscrew. Corkscrew is the worst coaster I've ever ridden. Worst coaster in the park. Right, get over there. Get over there, Corkscrew. Now, to a coaster with a more tolerable roughness, we have Magnum XL 200. It's still rough, not going to lie. This used to be ranked higher for me, but after my rough rides that I had this year, it has moved down, but it still is in the above average, above Valraven. From one giant aero roller coaster on the Gemini Midway to another, we have Gemini. It is not as good as Magnum, but it is older, so give it a little bit of slack for that. But the thing is, it's very tame. And I think I should put it above Blue Streak in mid because it's still a really good ride. On to the kiddie coasters, Wilderness Run and Woodstock Express. Let's start with Wilderness Run. It's a classic. It was Intamin's first coaster. Doesn't mean it's good? No. You have to start somewhere. And 9 times out of 10, when you start something that you've never tried before, your first couple tries are likely not going to be very good. So, bottom of below average for me. Now, on the other hand, we have Woodstock Express, which Vekoma had a decent amount of experience building kiddie coasters before they built this. So, I'm gonna put this right above Wilderness Run in the below average. Because remember, it's still just a kiddie coaster. It's nothing special. Heading into Frontier Town, we have Cedar Creek Mine Ride. As I said in my vlog, it is one of the coasters ever built. Not best, not worst, but mid. And that's the tier it's going into, the mid tier. It's actually pretty underrated, it's pretty fun. I've always really liked Maverick. It's fast, whippy, has a decent amount of airtime. It also introduced the new era of coasters that we've known to love now, and I'm gonna put it into the above average tier, but not past Millennium Force. And last, but very far from least, we have Steel Vengeance. The best ride in the park. I mean, just look at it. It's amazing. The only coaster that has ever beat it out in my rankings before is Velocicoaster, and it's by a very small margin. Well, that's the whole list. Every coaster at Cedar Point ranked on a tier list from worst to best and everything in between. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.